Good morning, humanity. Good morning, world. Good morning, universe. It's Mondays with Bev and Paul. And my name's Paul.
My name is Bev.
And we are so happy to be with you today, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
We were just talking about how we get these butterflies every time we go on, but then we're here with you and we feel very relaxed.
Yeah,
and ready to go.
It's true.
We have a question for today.
Mm.
How is the practice of BioTouch an act of forgiveness?
Wow.
And we'll get to that. You know, these shows are designed to answer a question that we get from people. It's also a way to teach BioTouch, to highlight a part of our manual or our book written by Deborah Schildhouse.
Yes, and hopefully, if you want to write us a comment or ask us a question while we're online or after even, that would be lovely. And always share with you what's going on with our network of certified practitioners in the world.
It is a buzz hive of activity. So our question, how is the practice of BioTouch an act of forgiveness, we'll get to in a minute. But first, we just had a wonderful holiday party.
It was, I must say. And you know what's always amazing for me with those parties? Sometimes that's the only time I see certain people.
Yeah.
Oh, there was so many people. Well,
so, I mean, here's some of them.
I know.
You know, people having a good time, including Ann, our practitioner. She's getting ready for her 60th birthday party.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure she's going to love you for that. Yeah, thank you.
But you can see we had folks there and people meeting each other that didn't know each other, and everybody was there for one purpose, and that was to share BioTouch.
Oh, it was fun.
And, you know, even our little presentation, there's information people don't know because they don't maybe get email and stuff like that. And we also had amazing entertainment. This was a big change. And we had the puppet lady, Rose, one of our certified practitioners. She's there with her little puppet. She made all these puppets.
I know. She's amazing.
And then Larry, known as Panache, the magician.
Ooh.
And there he is, not just playing with my butt. But that was a good trick.
That was a really good trick.
Larry is an amazing magician.
I mean,
he found that card in a deck that I put in my pocket, and it was the one he was really good.
Yeah, there were some things he did. Yeah. I was impressed.
Magical.
But as we know, he better be good because he's going to America's Got Talent.
That's it. He's got his big debut, I think, this week.
Yeah.
So best of luck to him. Thank you to Rose. Thank you to Larry. You made this one of our best holiday parties that we've ever had.
That's the feedback we got, huh? Yep.
And then one of the things we do is we always have 2 awards. One of them is the Self-Awareness Award because we're based on self-awareness.
Yes.
And this year, one of our newer practitioners, Michelle Cardenas, got that.
And deserving. Very deserving. Yeah.
She's gone through huge changes this year, and we are so grateful she's with us. And then the other one that we do is a Volunteer of the Year, and this was a very special opportunity. We actually went live to share these awards, and Julie Wood, Volunteer of the Year for 2017. How funny, she's got your last name as you.
I know, isn't that amazing? Yes.
You know, she is awesome, and she resides in Indiana, so she couldn't be there. But she has coordinated all of our public relations and marketing. She does all of our social networking.
Yeah, just stepped in.
Yeah, she has just been an incredible blessing to the organization.
A blessing.
So thank you, Julie, for all your wonderful work.
Absolutely, dear.
And thank everybody who came to the party.
I know. It was cool.
Wonderful.
It was wonderful. Yeah.
So we do have a very special song at the end of this thing that we did at the party. You will be blown away, guaranteed.
It's so much, kind of wraps up the whole party. Then
whole party, and it really gets us ready for the holidays. Yeah. So stay tuned at the end of this show, or if you're just live streaming with the after effects here, you can just fast forward if you don't want to listen to us, because we're going to get into our question. How is the practice of BioTouch an act of forgiveness? You know, this is it's like a key word.
I was going to say that word is very powerful in itself, isn't it?
So, you know, forgiveness, as we were just talking, it's not necessarily forgiving someone for an act that they do. There's a much more profound thing about this in relation to this concept that we use here of self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I think what we should read is we have a section out of our book.
Right.
I mean, our manual.
Our manual.
Yeah.
Yep.
And which really helps define how we start with the self-awareness.
Yes, it's in our terms that we are used in the manual. And the term is the associate is the person who performs the procedures in this manual. The term associate is used as a matter of convenience. However, the dictionary describes the role of one who is inspired to pursue this work as one often in the company with another, implying intimacy or equality, and two, one having an interest in common with another. That's the dictionary's term of associate.
Right.
Right.
Equality. So
Yeah.
how does BioTouch bring us to this? So the associate is the person, the practitioner, the person who's doing the technique.
Mm-hmm.
And how can that be an act of forgiveness?
Well, when I think of the word forgiving, I have to, you break it down, and the word for implies, something that is already a prerequisite. It's an action that's already there. It's a for. And then when we're before the giving. That's how I look at it. It's
Right.
not so much us saying, I forgive you for some slight that you did against me, because that's a lot of what our little egos do.
And that's the beauty that we always share with BioTouch. When we talk about, forgiveness, I just read this thing this morning. It says, forgiveness takes away what stands between your brother and yourself. And BioTouch pierces that thing that stands between us. And as we always say, to do BioTouch, you don't have to like the person.
No.
You don't have to like their acts. You don't have to like their hair. You could be angry with them the day before. But when you do that greeting, you stand in the presence of that person who reflects to you that part of yourself, which is the equality.
Yeah. The for being something that's already innate, and what's innate in each one of us is love. So when Paul says you don't have to like somebody's character or the way they think about something, you can do that. That's something of the little ego. But I'm sorry, you don't have a choice about love. Love is it just is. You are just love, and so is that other person. So that whole act of being in the presence with somebody, which BioTouch really gives us the opportunity to do, that's just equality. That's just, when you're in the presence of love that deeply, then everything else just kind of.
And I always remember Ihaliakala talking. He does Ho'oponopono, and he talked about doing healing work, and that every person that came to us was a reflection of something within ourselves that needed to be healed or erased from our perception, that we couldn't perceive it outside of ourselves if it didn't dwell within us.
Right.
And so a lot of times practitioners will come in, they'll finally get certified, and they always have this little tweak. Oh, I don't want to work on somebody with feet, or I have this hard time with this person who's coming in, and they really upset me when I go in the room or something. And I always love to say to them, everyone that comes is for our growth and self-awareness. And guaranteed, if you just keep working with it, the minute you clean it up, the minute you come to that love, that forgiveness, that where the barrier is dropped, that person will disappear. And it happens over and over again. And over.
Because the giving is giving yourself that opportunity to love, to express what you already are. Yeah.
So a lot of times we live in fear too, and we're working with someone and we're afraid that they're hurting, and we're identified with the diseases, we're identified with the problem, we can't cope with it, and BioTouch helps break down the fear. It's like we hear all the time, you can either live in fear or you live in love. Yeah. You can't have both at the same time, which is an interesting concept.
It is.
So for that moment, even if it's just a moment of doing that greeting with someone, there's that hope which moves us out of the fear into love.
Yes. And maybe that's the part of forgiving. It's like, it's not forgiving another person. It's the forgiving and giving to ourselves in that self-awareness what we are in the process of discovering about who we are, who we always have been. It's not, as Paul said, when somebody comes into our sphere of influence or into our lives, that person is bringing the gift of a lesson for us for our own self-awareness. And that's what happens in the session with BioTouch.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just awesome. And it's sort of the greatest practice that I've really ever done. I mean, I go into that room with someone and I open my eyes and it's 20, 30 minutes later. It's like, where did the time go?
I know.
It's the greatest meditation.
We're lost in that love with
Yeah.
somebody. We get lost in that. And that's in a good way.
Wow, it washes over us. And
Yeah.
the self-awareness just keeps on growing for both people. You know, that we've allowed each other to practice healing, to practice forgiveness.
Mm.
It's a powerful word. I remember reading Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography.
Mm.
And one of the keys to the whole book was his practice was, it wasn't, he had to love his brother. He didn't have to love the acts that they were doing, which is why he could do those protests and he would do those things, because the acts that were being perpetrated, you know, were wrong for him
Right.
and his countrymen. But it wasn't, he never got rid of that forgiveness, you know, and seeing that other person as himself.
Right.
You know, that barrier is broken.
Yeah, because he understood who he really was and who everyone else really was.
Right.
So he was able to do that work.
So try
Service.
BioTouch today. You know,
Yeah.
you're angry with somebody at home, say, look, just let me do the greeting.
Right.
Pretty much can guarantee you by the end you're done in that 2 to 3 minutes, there's a different perception.
Oh, remember Kai when she was
Yeah.
our guest? She actually made that comment to us, didn't she? When she was in a conflict or something with her fiance, they just did the greeting and just there it was.
You know, it reminded me of that time that young man was strangling me to death.
Oh.
And I thought about that this morning. Yeah. So he's got me in this head hold.
Wow.
And somehow I got my fingers up into his shirt there to do the greeting. And it was instantaneous. He let go for a minute.
Well, you know what's amazing about that is that you chose to use that touch instead of fighting physically.
And
Wow.
I really thought about, talk about putting
Wow.
forgiveness, the BioTouch is the application of forgiveness. And it released me from that. It was scary. I was on my last breath.
Yeah.
I mean, the death of the body was just around the corner. And those two fingers were like, bing! It was that instantaneous.
That's
gave me time to fly, you know.
Yeah.
So when I was thinking of forgiveness today, I thought about that.
Oh, of course you did. That's amazing.
So that is an extreme. Don't go looking to get strangled by somebody.
No, that's what you chose to do
Right.
in that moment, though.
Right.
So it's like you chose love, didn't you?
I chose BioTouch, which showed
that's
me
what I mean.
it's about. Right, exactly.
BioTouch, as we've been saying forever, is a divine thought form. It's love. There's nothing else. And it encompasses everything about that.
You know, it's hard to get that across.
I know.
But,
I know.
We just keep trying.
We just keep trying, and
presenting it.
humanity is trying to remember, and that's what BioTouch is here to do.
So
Remember.
we're asking you to participate with us. We're asking you to go online, at least give us your email, and so we can keep you in the loop of the things happening, even our little parties. And it gives you a sense, if you become a member, you can get the entire manual and DVD.
Yeah.
You can learn it at home. The puppet lady, Rose, you know, actually shared with everybody how, you know, she was looking for something to help her husband, because they were living in fear and anxiety about his 2 strokes that he had, and he wasn't getting any better. She downloaded the manual and learned how to do it.
And look what happened. That was in May. Larry comes to the party on Saturday night. For me, that was, I don't know. It was such a blessing.
And you would have never known this man had a stroke. Even when I went to shake hands with him, he gave me his left hand.
Me too.
I went, nah. So I grabbed his right hand, and he actually had some strength in that hand.
Yeah,
I had to sort of lift it. Yeah.
She's been sharing with us that whole their journey together, which I think is a key for what BioTouch can do for family and friends together,
Yes.
you're on this journey in a relationship of healing.
And it doesn't take any time. You just download the manual with links to the DVD. You just start practicing the points. Somehow, whatever this technique, whether it's an ancient Comitian tradition 50,000 years old, or if it's as new as Norman reawakening it, 30 years ago, or if it's as new as just you hearing about this for the first time, BioTouch is something that just spans time and eternity. It's so simple, so incredibly effective, so accessible to the entire planet right now that it's just time. It's time for all of us to share this with our family, with our friends. And our job, our only job here, Bev's the president of the board, I'm the director of the foundation. Our only job is to make this accessible. It's not about selling it to anybody. It's about accessibility.
No, this is a gift that we've recognized belongs to each one of us. And, in our stepping into our service and our own self-awareness about the gift that we are so blessed to be a part of. I think of myself as a gift bearer, and this is very seasonal. That's what we're doing here. That's why we're doing these shows, is to keep reminding all of us that the gift is here already, waiting for you. And come and join us, and let's change this world. Let's change the way that we have been doing business for such a long time. That's what BioTouch is here to give us.
So let's share some BioTouch. We're going to share with you the allergy, infection, allergy, and poison points. And we're doing this in honor of Deborah, who's working with her husband right now, who's having a little crisis. So here we go.
The infection, allergy, and poison sets are 3 separate sets of points. They all share the same hold point, which is the same as greeting point 1, located in the fleshy area just below the base of the breastbone. As with all sets of points, these may be touched repeatedly. Infections of any kind anywhere in the body may be addressed by holding X and with the other hand touching point 1, which is at the base of the large muscle on the right side of the neck and slightly above and behind metabolism point 1. Allergies or allergic reactions may be addressed by holding X and with the other hand touching point 2, which is on the right side of the neck directly behind metabolism point 3 on the top of the large muscle. To address poisoning within the body, hold X and with the other hand alternately touch point 1 and point 2.
Oops, we didn't have the stuff on there, so
Okay.
We're okay. You just got to see us do nothing. So learn the technique, and we have Parkinson's coming up December 21st.
Right.
That's what
Come
we
and
were
learn
saying.
the points to address Parkinson's disease. It's very powerful. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're on there. Okay, so what we do, we have all that training, but we have this great little video. Glad I got the sound on.
I know, right? Me too.
So the puppet lady She is amazing, and she did something at this party that we're just going to share with you before we tune out here. So here you go.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Awesome!
Oh my gosh.
You know, when it was done, I look around that and I'm like, oh, Rose got a whole room full of adults with hand puppets. And
Incredible.
It was so much fun.
So much fun. We are going to play that quite often because it's just hilarious. I'm going to try and post it just that to our Facebook page too.
Yeah.
It really tells us about the holiday season that we're in. We have Hanukkah happening tomorrow night.
Yes.
Christmas
absolutely.
happening in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever holiday you celebrate, we just wish you the best holiday season that you can have.
Yes, lots of love. And
Yes. And just keep practicing BioTouch.
Yeah.
So we love you all.
Yep.
Thank you very much for being with us, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a glorious week.
Yes. All right.